Hey guys, Alex here and welcome to another episode of Momentum Charting. As promised, here we are back today during the market hours looking at the chart of SPY. But if you are new here, welcome to the channel. Please take 1 second, go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. That way it will ensure YouTube to notify you on all my latest updates. Guys, you are not going to want to miss any of these updates over the next couple of weeks. Very important stuff happening in the market. So thank you. With that out of the way, let's dive into the chart of the SPY. Again, as promised, guys, markets are wickedly smart, and we have been preparing for exactly what's happening this entire way. And notated in yesterday's video on the SPY, this is what we were preparing for, and in my opinion, guys, we are getting ready here to get paid for what I believe is going to be the money leg of this nasty move to the downside that I do believe is developing here. So what's happening today, and I absolutely love how powerful and how strong this move back to the upside is. This is just freaking beautiful. So what this is serving to do right now, number one, it is serving to absolutely punish people who, traders, we're talking swing traders, talking traders who were too early into this move and now believe with the incredible power and rubber band like action of today's this move back to the top in SPY, it is leading people to question their decisions, whether or not they're right to be, whether they were right or not to be short in the market. That's what number one, what it's doing. It's making people think, oh, here we are. We had a move like this in June. This same thing happened here in May, where the bottom of the market fell out and then just quickly rebounded and just kept going and going and going and going for months and months and months. So it is making traders, guys, question whether or not any of their short positions were the right way to go, because they're going to get forced out of those, liquidated out of those positions, just in fear that, oh, okay, well, this wasn't like the start of the big drop. Let's get out of our positions and start going back long now. And that's when they're going to pull the rug out from everybody. So that's number one. And number two, this massive move back to the upside today serves to kind of calm the fears of the overall market after that brutal down day yesterday, where there was kind of a blood in the streets, fear and panic. So this big rebound today. I don't watch the channels like CNBC, all that nonsense, all the Bloomberg, all the noise, all the garbage, but I imagine what they're saying today is something like, oh, okay, here we are, back to normal, everything looks great, this week of trading is going to be fantastic for everybody. We are back on the road to higher highs here in the very short-term future. But I don't think that's what's on the table here. As we discussed in last night's video, been preparing here for exactly what's happening. This big drop Monday and this powerful rally back to the upside today. And what we need to do here, guys, is just to be patient, because this can go on for a while here, this move to the upside. And I'm expecting to kind of give like max relief to the market and really punish those people who were trying to get in early to this downside move. Kind of try to keep this wave to the back to the upside going as long as they possibly can. So this is what we kind of talked about yesterday, potential a correction like an A, B, and then C. That was scenario one I drew out, or which looks like most likely what's about to happen here, in my opinion, or sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something to that effect in 5 ways. But I think this is likely going to be a three-wave correction if it does happen. Now, it's still not off the table that that this thing does start going back to the upside, but I've laid out my evidence the last 3-4 sessions of videos I've done, and you guys can go back and watch those if you want. I do believe markets are headed lower here, and we're about to get paid off on the money leg of this really powerful down move that is, I believe, going to transpire here within the next couple of days. I don't know if it's going to happen today. Again, we just need to be patient and watch and see what's going to happen here. I'll show you the charts of the VIXY and the SQQQ, just kind of to go back and just take another quick look at those. But the key, like I told you, is going to be watching this 1 hour. I absolutely love this. I'm hoping that we start printing some of those green momentum dots. Let's change that to whatever, green, right? Start printing some of those green dots to the upside here to make this look really powerful, right? Like all the way back up. And then what happens here is eventually, I'll show you here with my 1 hour momentum drawing tool, and eventually here, what I believe is going to be happen. Again, we need to be patient here over the next couple days. Kind of the longer this goes on, I think the better our setup's going to be. Going to watch this. This right now to me is just beautiful. We've got this line of the most powerful part of the retrace, which is now only red momentum dots, which is fine. They could turn to green here at any hour, okay, which they probably are, because this looks like such a powerful rally back to the upside, of which we were completely prepared for. But at some point here, this 1 hour trend is going to break. And say, for instance, it were here tomorrow at 12:30, kind of what I'd drawn out here. So what we do then is we go and we look for the wick of the highest candle on this trend, and say that we were to continue up throughout the entirety of the day today, and somehow the wick, there was a candle like up here, something like that. Kind of draw that out. Let's see here. Just something like this, and there ended up being, it's not the best tool to draw this with, but that's okay. You guys get the picture, right? so if this were to be the highest wick on this trend here before we rolled over, so that's kind of where we set our stop on what we think is going to be the next part of this downtrend. Now, if there were to be on this downside a candle body, right, that breaks above this, so that's the point to exit. You aren't losing anything on the trade, right? You know it's a good idea most likely to get out of this trade and kind of reset your positions, reset your mind on what you think is going to happen. But the very likely scenario is that this thing is going to continue sideways, putting in some candles here, and none of those bodies of the candles are going to break that highest wick on this uptrend. And then this is what I would call the money leg, where we just ride this thing with as much profitability as it can find to the downside and get paid off on the short-term trade to the downside that I believe this SPY is setting up for. So, guys, that's the game plan. Let me just get rid of this stuff. And I am going to be coming out with as many videos on the SPY here as it takes to set this trade up and see if we can get in this thing profitably and get paid off nicely for these trends, which happen so infrequently in the SPY over the last couple of years. Just want to kind of try to make the most possibly can out of what I believe is developing here. Let's get rid of all this crap, because that is not what's happened. I'll do that later, but that's kind of what I'm anticipating and getting ready for, right? We've got our trend line and watch for it to break the momentum to the downside. Set your overhead stop and just ride this thing down to the downside for as much profitability as we can. On the downside, you set your momentum line again and just do the opposite. When it breaks back to the upside, get out, wait to see what happens. Hopefully it's able to ride back up to up to the upside and able to get another short position. But that's all for down the road. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That's my short-term game plan, is to just nail this trend back to the downside when it does happen for the money leg of this big correction that looks like is unfolding. So let me just quickly go over here to the VIXY. Just look at that. Again, sticking here on the 1 hour momentum chart, and to me, guys, it looks like what's happening, the breadth of what is happening today is nothing close to what happened yesterday, which is obviously very interesting. Today, the VIXY only retreating about 7%, where yesterday it was up over almost 20%. So I think literally what's happening here is just setting up another beautiful, let me get that red color back, another beautiful positive divergent bottom in here somehow, getting ready for the next leg to the upside. You can see that on the momentum bubbles, just kind of retracing here slowly, and then exploding back to the upside. Obviously, an increase in VIX means markets are getting ready to tank even harder. And then again, just lastly, the SQQQ, which is the opposite of the Qs and opposite of the broad markets. You can see what I was showing here yesterday, and it looks to be playing out absolutely perfectly, setting up here for a divergent, another divergent bottom here, a positive divergent bottom for the next move to the upside. And we were talking about exactly this kind of scenario that played out here in April of this year, where you just had this kind of thing where it looked like it was headed down, but in fact it just started exploding back to the upside. Now on this one, we're kind of going to have to watch it. This one had this interesting move where it exploded to the upside and then retraced all the way again, and and then took off from there. So we're going to kind of have to watch this, but all of them, it's kind of just a different squiggly line to get to the same place, right? I believe that all of this is going to play out exactly the same way, which is going to eventually lead to just a big move to the downside, back to the downside in broad markets here in the SPYs and the Qs. So we're going to have to watch this closely. And again, to me, the longer and more complicated this move back to the upside becomes, the more people it's going to fool in the markets, and the bigger and better this next downside move is going to pay off if and when it does occur. Guys, that's what I'm preparing for. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You are not going to want to miss any of this. Is starting to get really exciting just over the next couple of days, rather than a long drawn out correction, which I thought was possible, and it still could be, but this is I'm going to call this, what's developing now, at least the initial payoff leg for what I think is happening on this first part of the correction. Whether or not this is the end of the correction, we're going to have to watch for that. But again, stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed down below so you get updated on all my videos I'm going to be putting out today in the next couple of days on the broad markets. You're not going to want to miss it. Thank you so much for watching the channel. Thank you for watching this video. I will see everybody again soon in the next one. Thank you, and goodbye for now.